Okay, now we're going to extrude the lines that we've created, but first we have to go into southeast isometric mode. Typically, you would want to have this constructed using polylines, and then you would simply go here and select extrude, and you have your solid filled object. But in this instance, we don't have polylines, we have lines, so we cannot do that. There's another method to use. It's called Presspull. So on a Mac, it's located here on your PC under the 3D modeling section. So remember to always go in the bottom right, select 3D modeling, and then you'll see the new bar of icons along the top, and it will be very close to extrude. So let's click on press pull, and we want to, let's see, I'll select all that. There we go. So we just click on it, and as you can see, it's working nicely. I want my height to be, well, we could do 5 again, 5 units. Okay. And if I were to change this from 2D wireframe to shaded shades of gray, for instance, you'd see it has a nice fill on it. Okay. Now what we want to do is go back to top view. And duplicate this. So we've made our extrusion, and now we want to have a second version. So select all of this, right click, copy selection. We don't know where to place it at this time, and that works, okay? So now we want to do a similar treatment to these. We have to extrude them as well. So let's go back to southeast isometric mode. And select our press pull option. Now the reason why this probably isn't working, oh, it's because I was too far away. Okay, let's make this 5 as well. And five. Now the other thing we have to do is flip this around because it's not in the right, it's not correctly situated on your XY axis. Okay, now we want to pivot the side upward. To make a clean selection, to select all the geometry elements of the bridge, all the lines we've constructed, it's important to be in the right view. If I were to swivel this around, I wouldn't be able to make as easily a selection. So I'm going to click here, bring this over. Now I have my selection. I can move this around now. Okay, and then we go back to the modeling, 3D modeling toolbar, select 3D rotate. I'm going to pick the red hoop, and you can see it showing us the different options, and then I click to accept it and hit escape. So that is now in the correct position. We'll do the same thing for this piece. So I'm just going to click on top, Make my selection. Okay, select 3D rotate, click on the red hoop, and click. Hit escape. The next step is to bring our cross-section pieces over to one of the sides of our bridge. We have to be careful not to move the alignment of these because they're positioned in the correct spot, so we just need them to sort of lock into place. I'm going to make a selection while I'm in top view, and then I'll simply use the move tool to pull them down. There we go. Okay, so that's positioned correctly. Now we can, while we're here, we can move this over so that it also snaps into place. Okay, so once we feel comfortable with that, we can rotate it around and see if it was done correctly. So far, so good. Yeah, everything's connected. Okay, so now what we need to do is lift those bars up so they run along the top and not across the bottom. So you can see how they're all situated up here. If I were to select this and zoomed in, it's possible that I can lower it. Okay, and then I'll go into right side view to see if that did something, and then rotate it. It looks like it dropped it into the correct position. Yeah, if I were to rotate this around, you can see that it's at the join now, so that looks quite nice. And then we would do the same function on the other side. So rotate this around. It might be even easier just to go into front view again, zoom in, make a selection. Zoom out. That looks good. So I'm going into right view to select it. And in order to move it up correctly, I can't actually change the viewpoint here because it drops my selection. So I have to sort of awkwardly shift this around and then select it from here. Now we're the correct way. Okay, so now we want to move this up. Okay, click on that. And escape. All right, now let's change our viewpoint and see if this worked. So far, so good. It's not floating in limbo. Okay, so we're in top view. Everything looks correct so far. Okay, so now we want to go back to front and move this one up. Make a selection, click on here, and bring this up. So far, so good. Fingers crossed it does not snap. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, if I were to rotate my view, everything's looking good. Okay, now let's go back to front and repeat. Make a selection, click on the arrow, and move into position. Okay, move over here, make a selection, click on the arrow, move it to position. And I believe this is the last one. So make a selection, click on the arrow, and there we have it. Okay, so if I were to rotate this, everything should look correct. I'm going to go into southeast isometric mode. And if I rotate this, everything is aligned correctly. So now you have a completed 3D rendering of your bridge.